Taking walls successfully without taking damage is a hard skill to master in Fortnite, but it happens to be very important for box fighting, and it's definitely possible to learn for anyone. I find that a lot of people in Fortnite take unnecessary damage when attempting to take an enemy's wall, so today in this video, we'll be breaking down the art of taking a wall successfully in Fortnite. Again, just like the last fundamentals video, we'll break this video down into two parts. The first part, we'll talk about some general guidelines to follow when taking a wall. These tips will apply in most scenarios and will have a ton of value if you apply them in your own games. Then after, in the second part, we'll explore many different angles for you to take walls safely. I find that this is the biggest problem that people have when going after someone's wall, is that they often get edited on and lose a lot of unnecessary HP when walking up to pickaxe an enemy's wall. So for that, you need to fix your angles and how you approach the enemy box. The first tip I have that I really want to emphasize is the fact that you need to be timing your wall takes correctly. Many people complain about high ping, and while this is a very real thing and definitely a disadvantage, I find that people are often not timing the actual wall build correctly when taking the wall, and then clearly they definitely won't win the coin flip when both they and the enemy are holding the wall. Be sure to practice this in creative to get this particular timing down, and sometimes, even if you're actually good at this timing, it's important to be consistent with it. What I mean is, sometimes you want to be able to get the correct timing on the first try in the fight, and when you're in a real fight in FNCS, you don't have second chances. You need to be executing this perfectly. The second tip that I have is to use your guns to take walls, especially your AR. This is a great habit to get into because it gives you a lot of extra range, and this is something that you'll often see in professional level box fights. ARs are really good because the opponent won't necessarily know whether you're spraying at them or whether you're trying to take the wall. So it gives a little bit of confusion, and they'll be more worried to edit out on you if you're spraying at them, as compared to when you're pickaxing the wall, which leaves you completely vulnerable. The third tip that I have is to make sure that you're getting in the habit of shotgunning a new wall to reduce its HP and pickaxing it once to then take it. If you do this play right after a wall is built, you'll be able to surprise the enemy and take it rather fast with just a single pickaxe to follow. Be sure to note this works on any material type, but it's pretty hard to do this on metal, so watch out for that. The fourth tip that I have is to generally push walls when you have a significant HP advantage. Some scenarios where you have 200 HP and the opponent has 100 HP or less, that is a viable time to pressure someone's wall. The enemy will be generally less likely to edit out on you if they have to heal first or if they're low. They'll just be too scared to do so. The fifth tip is to keep the enemy guessing. Make them scared. Do some pre-fires and AR sprays. These are good strategies to properly pressure an enemy. Make sure they aren't able to breathe because of how hard you are pressuring. Something I want to note, it's important to be fast, but be sure you're careful as well and not going to take free damage in terms of when they edit out on you. But if you're pre-firing a lot and using AR sprays, they're going to be more hesitant to open that wall. The sixth tip is to make sure that after you take the enemy wall, that you're making a right hand peek and not falling into the trap of making a wide edit just because you got the wall and then getting hit in that process. Pay very close attention to what the enemy is trying to do. Are they trying to get out? Are they looking at you because they expect an edit? Pay attention to what they're doing and then make a correct response based on that. If they're trying to run, sometimes doing a wide edit isn't a bad idea. If the enemy isn't running away, take your time and make the correct edit and just play it slow, just like this example. And the final tip, try not to go after the same wall twice. Often you'll pickaxe and attempt a wall take on a particular wall, and if you don't get it, just leave it and try to go after another wall. The enemy will most likely be more aware on the second try and feel more comfortable editing on you by that point. Now it's time for the second part of the video where we talk about all the different safe angles you can take to take a wall. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining all these different scenarios. Here we have, not all of them, but just several different wall taking scenarios. And something you'll realize right away, and this is something that I really want to emphasize, is the fact that if you notice all these scenarios, most of them are just not having you where you're sitting right up against the wall. right? You are not sitting right up against the wall, or like right up against the wall, like right here, right? And the reason for this is because you don't want to, you know, not have a right hand peek when you're swinging on the wall. If you, for example, are in this scenario right here, and every time you swing, you're like jump peeking over, and you sort of using this edge right here as a right hand peek, right, onto this wall. That'll give you a really good safe way to take a wall without getting shot back by the person in this box. Okay, what happens if you walk up against someone's wall just like this, and you're sitting like right here? There's a big problem, right? Because you don't have a right hand peek when you're swinging. He can edit any edit he wants, right? Like a peanut butter for himself, and just edit anytime he wants, and maybe full box you through a window. Like he can place a window, put a cone above you, right? It's kind of hard to draw a cone, I'm not gonna lie. just he's gonna cone you, he's gonna piece control you, he's gonna full box you, and then you're not in the advantage situation anymore. So just at all costs avoid this sort of situation right here as well, where people place, they're like above at first, right? People are above and then they jump down onto this ramp to smack the wall. That situation is really good if you want to pressure fast, but it's not a good habit to get into if, for example, you're trying to take a wall of someone that has 200 HP. A really good example of something like really safe is like this setup, because this setup really allows you to smack on this wall. For example, you're sitting in this box, right, and the enemy is going to be in this box right here, right? And so you could just sit in this box and smack on this wall over and over after you make an edit, some edit. And the benefit of doing this setup is that no one can third party you, right? People are going to third party from all different directions. This is a really good setup for stacked end games if you really want to aggress someone, and make sure that, you know, you can try to W key someone that doesn't seem that good, maybe, right? That's what this scenario is doing for you. Okay, so this is the anti third party setup. These setups are somewhat common. Sometimes they happen in, you know, whenever you get a ramp through, like you do the Nora Really exploit and you get a ramp through someone and then you walk out to the side. For example, this scenario, you really want to place a wall right here, right? Set up a wall right here so that he can't get a right hand peek on you, and then start smacking on the wall like this. But just make sure there's an invisible line right here where it lines up with the grid. Make sure you're not passing this line. So stay on the left side of this line, right? Stay over here. Okay, do not be in this area, because if you're, as soon as you're in this area, this guy can run out at you and you have a really hard time getting away from him, right? He can probably window full box you or just make a full edit and just run out at you and psycho you, right? Controller players like to do this a lot. So if you want to avoid that, just stand somewhere over here, right, and get away from that, because that's the benefit of standing on behind this line right here is the fact that when he does edit out, you can just place this wall as a reaction, right? You can just place or reset this wall if there's something already pre-built there, right? As a reaction to him coming out. And that's instant. So he will have gun swap delay and you will be able to place a build instantaneously. There's no delay on builds, okay? So just make sure you're standing in the correct position when you're going for this. When you do get the edit, really make sure you don't do something like this. This is a bad edit to make. Do not make that edit, okay? Don't do something like this edit, just horrible, okay? Just make a window. He won't be able to escape, and you own this wall. His immediate instinct when you make a window, he's gonna panic and he's gonna run to the left. Most people run to the left. This is not correct, right? It's not good for him to do that, but they will do that because they don't want to turn all the way around and show you their back and run out this way. The correct move for them is to run out here and make another box in this area, okay? That's the best move, but they won't do that because they just will panic and try to, you know, turn 90 degrees to their right and come out here, okay? So just make a window. Do not let them escape by making this edit. I think it's a common mistake that people do, because then they can just run out. But with the window, they can't really run out, right? They can't really run out towards you. Make sure you have this wall as well. Okay, moving on. You have this scenario right here. Very similar situation, right? Except you have a cone in the box, right? You have a cone right on top of where you. In this case, what you can do is you can cross this line, because instead of your reaction being this wall, your reaction will just be when he runs out at you, when he edits and runs out at you, you edit this tile of this cone and you are protected. As long as you do it fast enough, you should be protected, right? You edit this tile of your cone, it should flip up, right, to cover this angle, and maybe you even have a wall here, and then he has no escape. Like, he can't really he makes a new box that he can own, just to make sure of let's try pre-firing. Why is he not scared of, you know, this wall? It's not his, but he's standing right on it, right? So the other guy can just edit out and, you know, come after him. So why is he not scared? It's because he owns this cone. So if he sees the edit and he doesn't have his shotgun already crosshair placed perfectly, let's say he has a blueprint or his pickaxe out, if the enemy comes out, he immediately just edits the cone. There's no delay. Remember what I said about builds and edits and resets not having delay? So if this guy edits out and comes out, he has to wait for his gun, but Nora Really can just instantly edit this tile on the cone. And if he does that, he's completely safe. Also, natural right hand peek because of this ramp. I don't know whose ramp this is. Natural right hand peek that's created here. Goes for the pre-fire and edits, just like I said. his back towards you to run back into the box, you can reset and go for a shot. Maybe even stand all the way out here. A really good angle that you can do is exactly what I said right here. You stand in this area and you can sort of shoot his leg, right? You can maybe take the wall and shoot his leg without him seeing you, right? You can have a really nice, neat angle down under. Okay, so look out for that. This wall is important to place because obviously he's not going to go out this way if you have this ramp exploit, or maybe sometimes this ramp will be his, so watch out for that. But he most likely is going to go out this way. The correct move again is, if you're sitting on this side, I always say this, expand in the opposite direction, right? So he should expand this way, right? He should go out here, but he won't do that sometimes. Like sometimes people don't do the correct move. If he does go out this way, he will be safe, but if he goes out this way, you own this wall to piece control him and full box him this way, right? So that's a very good option. Moving on, this is a peek right here that Dukes does a lot. He has a cone and he has a peanut butter angle right here to swing on people's walls. So sometimes he'll edit this tile of the cone to make sure that like it's clean. The cone will be like flush here, for example. You can see the example in the video here. And just you'll be able to pickaxe this wall and just duck in and out. Something to be very careful about this peak is like, don't double swing that often, or if you are going to double swing, be ready to reset this wall right here and just stay constantly behind the peanut butter angle. Okay, moving on, we've already talked about the third party setup. Okay, this is the Arkham peak, right, where you have a wall like this and a ramp like that. And so if the enemy runs to the left, you owning this wall is very important, right, because then you can flip this ramp, right, 180, so that it looks something like this, right? Look something like that instead of the forward way, and then you can edit a window and then full box him safely from behind cover, right? Right, cone, and then own this wall right here, and then own the back wall right there. It's a little sloppy, but you get the idea, right? This peak is really good. You just have to watch out for the common strat that people do. I would really want to own this wall, by the way. Owning this wall is really important, in my opinion, because the common thing that people do to counter this Arkham peak, the reason why it's so outdated and people aren't using that much, is because people can run out, and as they run out, since cones have a bigger reach, they can cone the top right here. Please excuse my drawing of cones, they're really bad. You can cone your top, right? And then immediately look to place this wall right after. And then now, as soon as you start running this way, they'll place a window and then grab these walls as well. This wall back here, and then the wall back here as well, right on the left side over here. Okay, so if you edit this wall right here, you can constantly, they can't place that wall. They might be able to cone you, but as soon as they run out, you can just sort of use this edge, right? You can use this edge right here to right hand peek constantly, right? Or just like win your trade, because you should be expecting them to come out, but I wouldn't recommend this peek in most situations. Something like this is really advantageous. Something like this is really good. It's really hard to get piece controlled, right? For example, if this guy runs out and tries to do the same thing that I described in this scenario, where he tries to piece control you and try to cone you, right? He tries to place the cone above like this, right? What you can do is just, you own this wall, right? You have an escape. You edit out these tiles, right? The 4 tiles here, run out here, place a wall out here, and then a backwards ramp like that, so that he can't, you know, have an edit on you like from here, and then you should be able to just go left and escape. You have an escape. In this scenario, it's kind of hard to do that, right? You could do the exact same thing, right? Go out here, backwards ramp, and then go out left. But again, it's situational. It's kind of scary. I much prefer the other setups to the Arkham peak. This is a really fast setup, right? So if you want to pressure someone really fast, you don't want to put a lot of pieces in place, then just set this up. The general thing is just stay to the left, right? Be diagonal to the box. This is what diagonal box fighting looks like. So for example, if we're bird's eye view right here, right, just be right here. Do not be right here. This is bad. Just stay right here. Okay, this is a general rule of thumb. If all this sounds really complicated for you, right, all of this stuff just sounds really complicated, just follow this. Okay, just make sure you're following this. Okay, to continue with the setups, this is a really strong peak. I really like this peak right here, where you stand on top and then go for the wall here, and then as soon as you get it, you edit the 6 tiles like this, right? And you had a super wide peak, because it doesn't matter that you're making a wide peak, because you're right hand peeking this edge right here, right? And so what you do have to be careful about in this scenario is that someone does a peanut butter like this and edits out and tries to right hand peek you. In this case, you want to move very close to the edge like this, right? Stay really close to this line so you can actually have a right hand peek on them, but also be really ready to react with this floor. I always talk about like the reason why diagonal box fighting is really strong is because usually you'll have some piece that you can react with every time they edit on you. So that's why double swinging is a myth, right? Everyone that says double swinging is bad, in general, it's not it's a smart thing to do. I disagree. I think if you're standing diagonal to the box that you want to attack, like in this case, you can double swing all you want as long as you have a piece that you can reset in reaction to someone editing out on you. Because someone editing out on you has a gun swap delay, and you resetting or building a piece, you do not have any sort of delay in that scenario, right? So you can always do that. Here's an example of Mongrel doing exactly this in one of my older videos, and then go for it that way. That's a much safer way to do it. Goes for the pickaxe swing, understands that there's a danger of this guy editing on him, right? Why is this not a problem for Mongrel? Is because he owns this wall on the right? See the wall really close to our camera? The reason why Mongrel can safely go for the pickaxe swing is because as soon as you see this edit, the enemy has to pull out his gun, so there's a little bit of a delay there, but there's no delay on your reset. So if you can react faster than this enemy can pull out his gun, and you're safe. And look how it plays out, right? You can block the shot just like this. Moving on, I mean, you just want to be careful of that piece control, right, as well. So like in this scenario, when he edits this piece, really good players will place a floor and then edit it in half and then look at you through this gap right here. So be really careful, right? What you want to do basically is just make sure that you place this floor, but right after you place that floor, just place a cone anyways, right? Just in case that he tries to place the floor. And then there's the scenario where he goes for both the pieces. He goes for the floor and the cone, right? Then you just want to make sure you place this wall. This one is really hard to get for him, so you always have that last piece, the third piece, that is going to be hard for him to piece control, right? So just be careful of that. Really good players will exploit it and then look for that piece control first. So just make sure you're smacking here. When you do get the edit, make a wide edit, right? Because you're gonna right hand peek here, and just be careful of him editing out on you. Okay, this is something that I've seen Clicks do in solo cash cups and killed many people with. This is a very weird edit. It's almost the exception to all these rules. You just want to own one of these sidewalls so you always have an escape, right? That's the only piece that you really need to own other than this stair edit, and I will show you the stair edit on screen now so you can see it here. It's actually really cool. I think you'll like it a lot. And sometimes you can go for the wall on this right hand peak. Thing you have to be careful of, let's say the enemy makes an edit like this, and then pretend the stair is still in place, he could probably shoot and look to cone you. So that's why I don't like this edit that much, and it takes a little bit of time to set up, but it can be good if you can confuse the enemy, right? People won't see this strat, so it's a one-off like niche strategy that you can use. Now moving on over here, just a general concept I'll remind you guys of is just that these are the tiles that you can edit. Just if the enemy is standing in an area like right here, do not make edits like this. Do not select these tiles and make an edit, because that's what's called a dry peek. He can see you right away. So for example, if this is you right here, right? If this is you and you make this sort of edit, just be careful. You have to move very far left when you do this to make sure you have a right hand peek, because it's a super wide edit. Or window edits. The window edit's the best bet because that prevents him from coming out. Okay guys, that was the end of the video. This was a super in-depth video, so I apologize for the length, but I really do think that the length was needed. All of this information is relevant and can help a lot of people get really comfortable with the game in terms of all of its nuances. If you've made it this far, I want you to type 0 ping in the comments below so that I know who the loyal viewers are. Regardless, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I truly hope you learned something new, and I will see you all in the next video.